fascinated to see what ends up happening.
I will say this: if they manage to pull it off, even if they go to the conference finals, D'Antoni deserves to keep his job. But if this crashes and burns, man, whew, it won't be pretty. But you're right; it does take some cojones, and if they, with their long odds, win a championship like this, Mike D'Antoni will have a statue next to the Pringles guy where they will forever live in happiness and harmony.
Can you imagine? I mean, you have to wonder if Daryl Morey is going to be out of a job no matter what happens this season. Um, but could you imagine if those guys won and then basically gave a big FU to Tillman Fertitta and decided to just leave town right after winning a championship? Kind of,
Fertitta's not the problem; it's Maury.
I mean, I
Tillman
feel like
Fertitta owns one of my favorite casinos. I will never say a bad thing about that man.
he's got your loyalty, but
I have a Golden Nugget loyalty card. I'm looking right at it. Okay.
well, I'll tell you this much. I don't know if
You just sounded
he
like John Gruden, by the way. Yeah, go
well,
ahead.
you know what? I'm gonna take you to school right now, Jason. This is my rocket school, and I'd say that the loyalty that you have for Mr. Fertitta, he does not share for D'Antoni and Maury. And I think if they don't win the championship, they're out. But I think it would be poetic justice if after doing this, I believe D'Antoni's in the last year of his contract, and Maury's situation was a little tenuous with everything that happened in the offseason with China. Can you imagine if they won and then pulled the Kawhi and said, you know what, we're going somewhere else, and they took over like the Knicks, like D'Antoni makes his triumphant return to New York along with Daryl Morey, be incredible. Anyways, uh, dream time's over. Uh, do you have any final thoughts on these Rockets and their decision to just go all in on small ball?
I think I've said enough. And just PJ Tucker, I'm praying for you every night, buddy. Hang in there. Eat a steak.
Eat a steak, put on some LBs. Um, well, Jason, before we finish up today, we have to do, of course, our marquee matchups of the week. And
Ahem.
oh, okay. Well, please take it away, good sir.
No, that's for you.
Well, I was just gonna say I am going to be out next week, so we actually have a very special marquee matchups, don't we, Jason? Because we have
Ahem. Ben, the Kobe Bryant marquee matchups of the week. Come
oh
on, man.
goodness gracious. I apologize to America. It is our Kobe Bryant marquee matchups of the 2 weeks. In
Okay,
fact,
now, say what you want to say. The floor is yours, brother.
thank you. So there are going to be 2 weeks this time because I will be out next week. So we have a couple weeks of some great matchups that take us right into the beginning of March. And I'll let you start off, Jason. And the floor is yours now.
Oh, we're getting snarky. I think you and I need to take some time apart, okay, Ben? Because I don't like this fighting on the show. It's bad for listenership. It's bad for potential sponsors. Sorry, let's make up. Air hug.
Air hug.
Marquee matchup number one: Nuggets at Thunder, Friday, February 21st. I mean, it's about time we give the Thunder some love. Chris Paul, who could have been the All Star Game MVP, I think, with the way he played and was just shooting from all over the court from three. The Thunder are respectable. They're well over 500, and they face a tough test at home against the Nuggets. So that's the first one to look out for.
Yeah, it's a good one. And the one that I'm excited for that might just have me glued to the TV is the Philadelphia 76ers traveling to Milwaukee to play the Milwaukee Bucks. The preview for me of the Eastern Conference Finals that I've thought since the beginning of the season, I am not backing down. I continue to be a believer. The Sixers have the second easiest schedule down the stretch next to the Pelicans. I
Do you have a
really
poster next to your bed of the team's easiest schedules? Because you've dropped that reference like 7 times tonight. And I feel like you just get up in the morning and just stare at the team's strength of schedule because you know that off the cuff.
Well, I mean, this is something that's going to be crucial for the end of the season with the standings as tight as they are. I mean, if you're a team like the Sixers, these games become actually pretty important because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be in the 4-5. So they either have to make it up to the 3 or they might want to just settle themselves nicely down in that 6. But who knows? Maybe they feel that they can take down this Bucks team. Not sure I'd want to play them in the second round, but alas, this game will tell us a lot. I mean, this is the matchup that they've been prepping for. I mean, Jason, they've made no secret of it. This is the matchup that they want. This is the matchup that they got Al Horford for. This is the matchup that they've done all these things to get to, and they feel like they can win. And they get to play the Bucks a couple times down the stretch. This is the first of those matchups, and it's going to tell us a lot about what to expect down the season, down the stretch of the season. And I'm fascinated to see the Embiid versus Antetokounmpo matchup, because that's the one that's going to define these games, and then kind of see how the rest of the season plays out in the Eastern Conference, because I still think those are the two best teams.
Well, we all know that Embiid's going to leave Philly. First, he's going to go to Miami, play with Jimmy Butler for a couple of years, win a championship. Then he's going to go to Milwaukee and play with Giannis, and then they're going to win a championship. Rinse and repeat. The Sixers are winning diddly squat with that core, but they're still a good regular season team. And I'm feeling green. So the next day, our third Kobe Bryant marquee matchup of, I guess, the end of the month is Celtics at Lakers on Sunday the 23rd. You saw Lakers versus Celtics in Boston. Celtics blew the doors off of them. So now the Lakers get a chance on their home court to seek out revenge. I thought Kemba Walker was going to win the All-Star game for Team Giannis on Sunday night. Didn't happen. Now he's going to go in there and see if he could beat LeBron and AD on their home court. So should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll stick with the Celtics for one more, because the next week they travel to Utah to play the Utah Jazz, who are one of my kind of sleeper picks to make a move in the standings. I'm not going to quote strength of schedule, but this is the second half team. They always play better in the second half. They are, Jason, the second best home team in the Western Conference, just behind the LA Clippers. And this is a team that has quite a few home games left, so I am interested to see how they do in the second half. I think they have a chance to make up some ground in the standings, climb up a few spots, but obviously the Celtics will have something to say about that next Wednesday.
I think so too, but Ben will not be watching because he'll be somewhere on the eastern seaboard on a kayak, freezing in a bubble jacket, rerouting a map, and will win the Nobel Peace Prize for it. So, Ben, you're doing a brave thing over there. But the fifth one also involves what you think is the NBA Finals preview, and that's the Sixers traveling to LA to take on the Clippers. That on Sunday, March 1st. I think that's going to be a barn burner for sure, so tune in.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one we have, another great matchup. Milwaukee travels to Miami to play the Heat. We get to see Antetokounmpo play a team who is absolutely fearless, and they're clearly the surprise of the season to me. The Miami Heat have been absolutely tremendous. They feel like they can win now. They are also a team, I'm not going to go into the exact placement, but they're also a team with a slightly easier schedule down the stretch, Jason. And it is going to be kind of interesting to see if they can make any moves in the standings, because again, you might not want to be in that 4 spot, but if they get stuck, this game could be an interesting one to kind of see how those teams match up, because I mean, that's the team the Heat are going to have to go through if they want to win the title in all likelihood. So that'll be a good one. And this
I got to ask you. You usually, before the show, critique my marquee matchup. Since you're not here next week and there's going to be no show, how do you think I did? I'm putting you on the spot here on the air.
This was an 11 out of 10, Jason. These were phenomenal marquee matchups. Kobe Bryant marquee matchups.
No, I'm kidding. Thanks, buddy.
Those were some great matchups, and I'm really excited. The playoffs are going to be here before we know it. I mean, the regular season, Jason, wraps up in just a couple of months. So before you know it, we're going to be going to the playoff push, and then it's going to be playoff time. Our plans to go to a Nets Bulls game were soiled by the fact that both of our teams are performing well below expectations, and watching my Bulls play might be less enjoyable than hearing about all the other things going on. But they might get a new GM and head coach, Jason. So there is good news out of Chicago. There's a little bliss there for you. But this has been a good one. Those were some great matchups, as always. Before we go, Jason, we have to remind the people to subscribe, rate, and review.
Star total at your discretion. We hope it's 5. And honestly, I know the NBA just had its All-Star break, so we here at Baseline Jumper are going to take a bit of an All-Star break ourselves. We'll be back again doing our next show on March the 3rd. So 2 weeks from tonight, Ben will be nice and refreshed from his trip. Ben, have a great time. Be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't gamble on baseline jumper making in a schoolyard. Don't do that kayak thing I suggested earlier. Just go have some safe fun and remember that you have a podcast to come home to.
Oh, Jason. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the people. I look forward to talking with you and broadcasting this to everyone in just a couple weeks. See you then.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.